for me, like it fucking sucks that I couldn't see this one in the theater. Like I don't just the score by Jim Williams, is that his name? Like the score was fucking just fantastic. Like, and I don't know, like especially that deal that Warner Brothers and HBO just did. How do you feel about releasing films straight to streaming? And obviously you had a premiere at Sundance, a different story, but like for me, I'm bummed that I didn't get to see this in the theater for the first time. I'm one of those people.
I mean, what I'd say is I don't kind of fetishize theatrical releases the way that some directors do. I'm not, I'm happy to have anyone watch my film in any way. Kind of, maybe that's just coming from the indie space. You don't expect a kind of massive, like, Marvel-style theatrical run for your film anyways. But I'm sort of willing to embrace that technology. And, if this is the world, then kind of run with it. That isn't to say I wouldn't like the film to be seen in theaters. I mean, that's a particular kind of experience, and hopefully sometime down the road, specialty screenings or on the genre circuit or whatever, that maybe some people will be able to play it. But I'm not as freaked out by it as a lot of people are. I don't want theatrical to die entirely. Like, I don't want this to be the end of theaters, but I'm not. I don't feel like that's essential to movie viewing in the way that some people do. I don't mind watching it at home. There's something about that I like as well.
The only thing I tolerate at home for my first viewing is like comedies. Everything else, it's got to be dark. If preferably communal. If I can have a bunch of people there, oohing and eyeing with me, I'd like to have it. But I understand that more often than not, like most people don't care, For me, it's always an event. I think it's because I'm old. I think that I'm a boomer, as the kids say, Brandon. The dark theater is my place of solitude.
Well, no, I'm old too, but I'm Gen X, so I'm kind of on the line, the tail of Gen X. So maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't know. I mean, there's something good about theatrical, but also, sometimes the theater is playing it very dark and the sound is terrible and people are on their phones. It's not always good. When it's good, it's great because you get that communal experience. I think that's definitely worth something.
You're 100% right.
Sometimes you just feel like, fuck, I wish I was watching this at home. I can't see anything. I don't do. Possessor's in some ways a dark film. I don't know how it plays in theaters when they don't have the light up, probably.
You are right, definitely. Like it's a coin toss on how my experience is going to be at the theater, because the phone thing is definitely a problem, and like I can't help it. Like it takes me right out of it. I think I saw Midsummer and somebody was on their phone the entire time, and I was like, Jesus fuck, can you just I don't understand. If you don't like the movie, then just leave. That's fine. If you're bored, then just leave. It's cool. I'm not going to get mad at you if you leave. But you're like, or can you at least turn your brightness down on your fucking phone? Like, I'm trying to see this guy burn here. What's going on here?
Well, that guy probably live blogging the film, though.
How could I see? I'm old. I wouldn't even consider something like that. It wouldn't even occur to me for something that people are like, oh, like you got an injury or something like that. Just WebMD it or something like. It doesn't occur to me to check on an injury. I don't think the internet isn't the first thing I think of to solve a problem. It should be at this point, but I'm stupid. Like I said, I'm just a dumb person, so I don't have any time for that.
You're just a traditionalist, man. That's okay.
I just learn by doing. I got to fuck up. That's how I learn. So typically when I have a guest for the first time on the show, I always ask them the same question as we bring it to a close. What are some of your favorite movies of all time? I hate the question. I know it. I hate it, but the audience responds well to stuff that's personable, so I just do as I'm told, okay? But what are some of your favorite movies, or some of your inspiration, or movies of inspiration to you, sir?
I'm the worst person to ask that question, because I just go blank. As soon as someone asks me what my favorite film is, I just go completely blank. I have no idea. I mean, what's your favorite? If someone comes at you with that question, what is your?
I mean, if I had, like, I'm with you, man. Like, I don't believe in lists. That's why, like, I just said this is one of my favorites of your Possessor is one of my favorites of 2020 because I'm not going to say it's in my 5 or anything like that. I guess if someone was going to hold a gun to my head, maybe No Country or Jaws, but it depends on the day. It depends on what I'm experiencing, what my mood is. Am I wearing, something for winter, or am I dressed up in my beach clothes? All of that matters. So I'm with you though, but there would be a few that would kind of filter in through No Country. Sure, let's just go with No Country.
No Country. Yeah, man, I don't have a good answer. It depends on my mood too. Or it depends what I'm. Like when I was getting into film at film school, it was a lot of sort of classic arty stuff like Bergman and Fellini, Kubrick stuff. But I like genre stuff. Argento I came too late, but I think some of those films are, when you're trying to do stylistic genre work, are incredibly useful references. And I don't know. I like Lanthimos' stuff. I like Dogtooth. But I'm just sort of pulling stuff out of a hat. None of this is my favorite,
No, I totally get it, man. I just, and you know what? It's probably a good thing that that's kind of the way that you look at it because, especially if you're a filmmaker and somebody asks you what your favorite film, at least for me, I start comparing and contrasting, not because I want to, it's just because I'm a psychopath, but like I start going, oh, well, he said Fellini, he really enjoyed, and then you start looking at their work. Maybe that is why you have such a distinct vision yourself, is because of that kind of way of thinking where it's just like, I don't even know, what would be like my inspirations or favorites or anything like that. Because I'm not to go back to Possessor, but like when I look at Possessor, that you've seen something different. Take the fucking subject matter out of the mix. You go, wait a minute here. This is so distinct, and I don't know. There was some sort of bridge I was trying to get there, Brandon, but I definitely failed. I drove off the fucking side of the bridge. But that's kind of what I'm thinking is like, he doesn't really have like a favorite movie that he can say, or a distinct, oh, this was my inspiration to be a filmmaker. And maybe that's why I think Possessor feels so fucking original.
I hope it's that and not just like blatant ignorance on my part. I like your version of it way better. It's kind of, I mean, the other thing is, I grew up, I've always liked movies, but I wasn't a cinephile in the same way that a lot of people who get into film are. And so, I was talking to Kareem, say he's an encyclopedia of film knowledge. I mean, I could spend my entire life watching films, and I'll never watch, a third of the films that you've seen. But I feel like those two perspectives are kind of useful. Like, I came up reading a lot, for instance. I feel like you need to have film references to know the history of your art, but I feel like it's useful to have kind of an interest in books if you're going to write films, because you can fall into a trap where you're just sort of writing films based on films, and it's not, you're not drawing from other references. So, I hope I can kind of have it both ways, because I hang with cinephiles and work with cinephiles, and we watch a lot of movies when we're developing something. We watched a ton of stuff together when we were developing Possessor. But then the question is always, okay, we've seen this before. We have some ideas. How can we do something that isn't that? We've seen that before. How can we take an idea but kind of build on it and twist it in some kind of way through process? And if that has worked, then that's good to hear.
It definitely did, sir. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I thank you so much for coming on. This was such a pleasure, man. I mean it when I say you're definitely a talent that I think people, I think they're already paying attention. I feel like such a fucking shock jockery. Oh, you got to pay attention to Brandon Cronenberg coming out of Canada. It just sounds so fucking stupid, but I hope that you get the recognition that you deserve, sir, because this is one of my favorites of the year. I don't say that lightly. I think that you made just an extraordinary piece. I think your entire cast and crew was phenomenal, and that goes from, you know, the production designers, the set designers, the composer, the cinematographer, editor, top to bottom. I think everybody just nailed the role, especially you, because without your writing and the direction, there is no Possessor. So I can't wait for your future work, sir, and you are definitely welcome on the show anytime.
Well, I cannot thank you enough, and then I would happily come back.
Brandon Cronenberg, ladies and gentlemen. You guys got to see Possessor. Possessor comes out tomorrow. Wellgo USA, 4K Blu-ray DVD. Get that physical media. What am I saying? You're not gonna get the fucking physical media. ELLISSINEMA, Ellis Cinema Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I didn't mind coming out to do Possessor. Fucking, you gotta see it. I couldn't explain it to you even if I wanted to. Or you could think it's about marriage. Well, maybe we'll see you around the corner. I don't know. Unless Brandon sends a virtual assassin to fucking blow my fucking brains out. It wouldn't be good.